What's up, Wholesale Nation? This is Andy Speed.
And I'm Andre King.
So we have an awesome interview for you today. Raul Bolufe out of Miami. We've known him for a few years now, and he's doing what he's actually proving day in and day out, doing what most wholesalers and gurus will tell you can't be done, and that is wholesaling off of the MLS. This guy has taken the unachievable and turned it into a business, and this guy's just killing it.
Right. Yeah, so, he's one of those guys. I met him probably about 2 years ago. And when I first met him, it was him and a couple other guys from Miami area. And they look like Miami. Like, if you, picture, you Google Miami and young guys from Miami, you get them, right?
Kind of creepy.
Right.
But yeah, I see. They show up in flip-flops. And
right.
Yeah, they're on the beach. They're ready to go at all times.
All the time, right? So that's him. And so when I first met him, I was like, who's this young guy? And but when he opened his mouth, he was sharp, right? And I knew he had something special going on. They were doing, I think they had done like 90 deals that year. And at that point, I was just getting started. So it just blew my mind. I was like, what? In Miami? So what are you doing? He said something about he was buying deals on the MLS. I was like, man, I've never heard of anybody doing that for real. And so, but very sharp guy. And we just recently had a chance to spend some time with him in Punta Cana. Did I say that correctly?
Your question, Punta Cana. Yeah,
I'm always off on the second part of the
DR.
Yeah, I'm always off on the second part. But yeah, we had a great time. There, getting a chance to meet with some of the people in our mastermind, learning some new things. We're actually going to discuss some of those new things that we picked up here in just a second.
Yeah. So without any further ado, we've got the party liaison of Miami, Raul Bolufe.
All right, so we got Raul Bolufe on the line with us today. So Raul, of course, we've been knowing him now for a couple of years. I think I met him
on
first.
year 2 for me. You guys met. Raul and I talked a few times on the phone before we met. Y'all probably met about 6 months before Raul and I actually met. We met in Scottsdale at the Find and Flip for the first time.
Yeah.
So great to see you, man. How's
awesome.
We understand that you just did some traveling.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, guys. I just did some traveling. We got back from Tulum, Mexico a couple days ago.
Nice.
That was fun. Now we're back to work, back to the grind. A little hustle on here.
Right. Yeah, those of you lifestyle entrepreneurs out there, the guy that's going after the life, just follow Raul on Instagram. You'll get to live vicariously through him. Him and his partner out of Miami, just living it up, loving life. You guys work hard, you play hard.
Typical Miami, they're always in swim trunks. At any moment, they can just hit the water.
You can't promise that it's G-rated. That's the only disclosure.
Yeah, and then but the funny thing about it, and the guy has it going on, because then he goes from a T-shirt to just putting his sports coat on, and then his business, right? So you got it figured out.
You got to know where to draw the line every once in a while,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so we just spent a few days, like 4 days in the Dominican with Raul. Let's talk about that, man. I know Undrea and I were talking before we started recording about how insightful you are and intentional you are with everything that you do. What were your takeaways, and what does that type of event mean to you?
Yeah, dude, I love going to those things just to be around people like you guys and everyone else that's in the group. And just like always, like the proximity of being with people that are in the industry, doing a ton of deals. Like there was a guy doing there, over 300 deals a year in Washington. You got Sean Terry, all these people. Just being in the room with these kind of guys and having these conversations always has a huge impact on me. Because, just like all of us kind of we always feel like we're doing good. And then we go and meet these people. It's like, damn, even if you're both doing roughly the same amount of deals, like one guy's doing more seller finance deals, one guy's doing more fix and flips and lending and et cetera, et cetera. It's just like, it's so powerful to be around that. And like, damn, there's so much more opportunity out there. There's so much more. So the inspiration aspect is so big for me. I took a lot of takeaways about, seller financing deals, and it's so possible to do, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these every month if you just kind of structure it correctly. Just takeaways on basically how to sell more deals. I don't know if people heard me speak before, but we're pretty big on the MLS. So I'm still constantly learning the off-market stuff. And all you guys are like pros at this. So every time I'm around you guys, I learn so many things about how to, send the mail, do all this nitty gritty thing.
Right.
So I learned so much from that.
And we'll get into that, but it's funny that you say that because the rest of us is like, man, we need to figure out this MLS stuff.
Yeah. I had to talk Seth off a ledge. He was like, man, I'm going to throw everything away, start going after this. Like, hang on, dude, it's a different business model, different mindset. It's a complete shift from everything that we've done. But it's interesting that you say that, you look at other guys and what they're doing and how that drives and motivates you. We got the same thing. And I was looking at you guys in the discipline level, the no detail overturned in both their lives, like what they eat, waking up, going to the gym, getting the reading time in. I mean, these guys are on vacation and we played hard, but still the hitting the gym, hitting the food routine, not getting out of whack. Cause right when they get back, it's right back to business.
Right.
And I'd say that was pretty inspirational for me. And to hear you say that, you look at guys that are doing, you get not necessarily complacent, but you get comfortable with where you are. You start beating your chest a little bit and you go and see somebody that's achieving at such a high level.
Right.
I mean, it's inspiring, exactly as you said.
Right.
So I know you just got back. Have you implemented anything that you learned or picked up from anybody else?
Yeah, we started with, we learned about calling, when they go on an appointment to call us right away, all this stuff. We literally did it today and we locked up a deal. It's probably going to be like a $40,000 deal. Our acquisitions guy was leaving. We said, hey, call us if anything happens. It's a hot lead. He called us. We said, okay, go up to this price. He was at 180. We said, go up to 190. And he locked it up for 190. And it's a deal that we're probably going to sell for like 230. And we learned this in the mastermind.
So that was a massive takeaway for us that we just implemented as well. I'm
going to add to that, by the way.
Yeah, we kind of need to talk about what it is.
So we'll talk about what it is, and we'll talk about the resistance I got from Andy over here on this thing.
He did. I didn't see it, but I went along with it.
So and I know, Raul, you come from the car business also. I think you've done some car sales and and so in any type of sales, it's called a turnover, right? It's like when you have the salesperson and they get stuck and they bring over the manager and the manager basically helps out with the sale. And so it's really the same thing that we're doing. And before we were doing like, what do you call it? The customer service phone calls, like a day or two afterwards. Yeah. But it just speeds up the process because you can speak directly with the seller. Right. And now, Andy was kind of figuring out, he was like, man, I don't know. I think I'm going to piss people off. I don't know how this is going to work. And then the first one we did. I
wasn't, to be clear, I was not against it. What I did not understand completely, and I sometimes I get caught up in that I have to understand everything before I move forward.
Right.
And I was having trouble visualizing it and how that, I didn't want to step on our sales guys' toes. I didn't want to go in with a different angle or maybe conflict with something that they had just said. Not that we ever tell stories to sellers, but I don't really know what happened on the appointment. So, I didn't want to play the wrong card and then ruin the deal for somebody.
Yeah.
So I would definitely tell any sellers what Raul was talking about. I mean, any wholesalers that are out there right now, if you have a team, you definitely want to implement that. Talking to the seller before the salesperson leaves, and you can see that they're getting ready to lock up a $40,000 deal. Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty powerful to hear that because we did the same. We would do like those kind of like those quality calls after the next day or in the next 2 days, and that works really well. I definitely think you should do that. But if there's something there, I mean, you could set boundaries with your salespeople, kind of how you want to do it. If, for instance, if they say, "Oh, if you're 20K away or if you're X% away, call me, let's do it." If we're $100,000 away, it might not be worth it, But I think it's important to just understand that dynamic is, works. It's right then and there. It limits the curve so much.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So we implemented it yesterday with our sales staff. We've done it on 3 properties as of right now. And one of them turned from a no to a yes, a verbal yes. We haven't gotten it signed. Second one turned from a no to a yes. And it's in process of getting signed right now. Nice. And then the third one turned from a no to a listing.
Okay.
So we're 3 for 3 on turning around appointments.
So this works. So that's the tip. That's the tip of the day.
So that paid for the DR trip right there.
It did right there. So
Right.
you're a
So
little late to the party, but you know, you were partying while we were just not implementing. You implemented the same time as we did.
right.
So I guess speed of implementation is right there with us.
Right.
But
right there.
it's incredibly powerful. So looking forward to seeing what the results are next time we talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Raul, I know that, you know, you're a little less than 40 years old, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
So a young man in the business, right? But you've been in this thing for a long time, right? And so if you can give us, because I know a lot of people have heard your story, but our audience may not have heard your story. And I know you could be an inspiration to the younger people that are getting started that think people won't take them seriously in this business. So can you give us kind of a brief background of how you got started and what you're doing right now?
Cool. I love it. Yeah. So I started, I was going to school, going to college, getting an economics degree, 21 years old. And I was also, while getting a degree, I was working in my dad has a car dealer. So I kind of started since I was 16 years old working there. I started washing cars. Then I started being a runner. So I was taking checks to the bank and doing this and doing that.
Right.
Then I finally started selling at around 18, 19 years old. And so I started developing some skills. I wasn't doing anything right, to be honest, but I was just going out there and trying to figure it out, making some money, trying to make some sales. Anyway, so it kind of just, I had a shoulder surgery because I used to play baseball. So I was in like bed rest for a couple of days. And I just, I'm like, you know what, let me listen to an economics podcast. And I got bored of that. I'm like, you know what, let me listen to real estate because I know that, real estate seems pretty cool. My dad had told me about it. My mom had told me about it. So I'm like, let me listen to it. And that's when I found Sean Terry's podcast. And like a lot of us kind of started with Sean Terry's podcast.
Right.
And I just kind of ran with it. I saw the 5K formula, and that is the podcast that kind of got me started. I followed the 5K formula. I made $0. I spent like whatever, $2,000-3,000 in mail. I didn't make any deals happen, but then kind of just got like a local mentor through mutual friends. Learned a little bit, got my first deal, and he's the one who kind of taught me MLS and got my first deal, then kind of kept going from there. So really I started like at 21. It was not such a glamorous story. I was living in my mom's house. From my bedroom, I was making offers and learning the business. And I've been in it. I'm 26 now, so I've been in it for 5 years. Wow. A couple hundred properties or so. And we got a team now of like 10 people. Do MLS, off market. We have a brokerage as well. So a couple different things. Nothing glamorous. It was just really, I envisioned something a little bit better. I knew that if I hustled, I could probably do my own thing. I just didn't know how to look like. I was just like, I have no idea how to do it, but fuck it, let's try. And then that's what I did. I tried. And then little by little, got one deal, then got 3, then got 5, then got 10. And I'm sure you guys can relate. In the beginning was a struggle. You do everything wrong, and you just keep going, man. You keep making offers. You keep, showing up to the houses. You keep talking to buyers. You keep going to closing. You keep looking at HUDs, and eventually shit kind of starts falling into place.
Right. And so for you, which was much different than most people, right? Because most, the funny thing about it, you were listening to Sean Terry, but in the beginning in Sean Terry's training, it has nothing about MLS deals or anything like that I remember. So you kind of went off the cuff. So what made you move towards buying deals and contracting deals off MLS?
So I tried the off-market model. I didn't do it for long, so I can't really say I failed. I did it for like 3 months. I think I sent like probably about 3,000 pieces of mail. Nothing, right. But I didn't get a deal. And I did it for 3 months. I'm like, damn, this is not working. So then I asked around, I'm like, wholesaling. And someone said, oh, I know a guy. And he teaches people. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I contacted him. He said, yeah, man, I'll teach you for $5,000. I was like, I don't got it. I just spent $3,000. I don't have any money. And so my stepdad actually, he said, okay, let's do this. Give me half now and half when we're done. It's a 6-month thing.
Right.
So my stepdad lent me the $2,500. And I told him, dude, I promise I'll pay you back my first deal. And at the time, my stepdad was starting to get into rehabbing as well. So it was kind of like a cool, happy medium.
Right.
So he's like, look, just learn it. And if you can find me deals, we'll figure something out. Don't worry. I'm like, all right, cool. So so then this guy, Jim is his name. Jim is the one who taught me, and his strategy was MLS. So that is how I got into the MLS model.
Right. And so, instead of going that route, you went to MLS. And so breaking down your team, you say you have about 10 people that are on your team right now, right?
Yeah.
And so what does that look like? It's like, what does the model look like for you?
Cool. Yeah. So we separate the MLS in counties. So we're in 5 counties right now throughout Florida. So we have 5 one MLS agent for each. So out of the 10, 5 of them are MLS agents. We have 1 dispositions guy, which sells the properties. We have 2 leads managers for the off-market stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have we have 2 sales guys that are going on these off-market appointments.
Mm-hmm.
An assistant, which she does like the transaction coordination. She helps with all like our personal stuff and paying the bills, all the fun stuff. And then we have Lewis, which you guys have met. He's kind of like the COO / partner / does everything. And and then me. And we also have a camera guy, but I don't know if you want to count. I don't know if that's 10, 11. I started losing count, man.
Right.
So you have 1 agent for each county. What are they doing? Are they just trolling the MLS, looking for deals, contacting agents, or?
It's like an organized troll, I like to call it. It's like, so yeah, they're trolling, but we kind of have like a specifics per county. So let's call it Miami-Dade County. All right, we buy or investors buy with X criteria, right?
Mm-hmm.
X% ROI, X% cap rate if it's a rental, under 300,000. So we have this criteria, and then we give that to them, and then they break down the MLS that way, and they do hot sheets, or they'll do searches, and then they'll make offers, in a systemized fashion for that.
Right.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so what's your marketing budget then?
Dude, I mean, it's just really what our CRM costs us because they're on commission only. So our CRM is like, I don't know, $300 a month or something. And then we bought them a computer. And that's about it. They're kind of on their own.
So you have all those non-believers that say you can't buy deals off the MLS. Your marketing, it floors us each time we hear how many deals you're doing and the revenue and wholesale fees that you're generating, and there's like no expenses. There's next to none.
Right.
It's phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
So for those that say it can't be done, look at Raul.
Right.
It can be done.
It can be done. Right. And so if I'm so for that person that's new and let's say that they're falling in the same situation as you, right? Like they looked at it and say, you know what, I don't know if I have the money to spend to go out and send out direct mail. So I don't know if you know the cost per deal in your market for direct mail. But in most markets, I'd say 25 to 3,000 or something like that. Right. So if I'm the new guy getting started, $4,000 for you.
Probably $4,000. We're not very good at it either. So that's probably why.
Okay. I see why you stick with MLS. All right. So let's say that I'm that new person and that's what I want to do, right? So I don't have the money. I want to get an MLS. What do I need to do first? How do I get started? How do I set up the team so that I'm able to generate deals?
Cool. So I would say the first thing is a license. So I would recommend getting your license. If you don't, I don't have it. So, but if I were to do it over, I'd probably get it. The only reason I didn't get it was because, I had my stepdad that was licensed and I had my cousin. So I family members, and I was able to access their MLS very easily. There wasn't any trouble there.
Mm-hmm.
So you need access to a license, whether you get it or whether you have a trusted friend or family. You need access to that somehow, right?
Right.
Then to back up a little bit, I wouldn't recommend starting on MLS if you're a complete newbie, and not because of anything. Like I said, I did it, so it's possible, yes. But in this like really competitive market today, 2019, it's really important that you know the rules. It's really important that you know buyers, that you know the lingo, because you're dealing with these professionals. You're dealing with agents, brokers. You're dealing with attorneys. There's escrow deposits, there's shorter inspection periods, etc. So it can get a little challenging. But anyways, let's say we get past all that.
Right.
You need a license, and then you need to know criteria. When I say criteria is what are buyers actually buying in your market, in the county, in your city, in the zip code that you're looking at. Because at the end of the day, you're planning to wholesale these deals, unless you're fixing and flipping, which is different. But
so how do I get that information? How do I know what buyers are buying?
So you go two ways. You can go the way of networking face to face. So going to the meetups, going to real estate investor clubs, talking to people, etc. Or you could just pick up the phone and call. Look at public records. Get a list, and skip trace people or do some research and call. I didn't know about skip tracing back then. So what I would do was I would literally just look up. I'm like, okay, there's a lot. I would look at the MLS and see where the most like REOs were. Mm-hmm. And then I would see where the most REOs closed for cash.
Okay.
I don't know why I chose REOs. I just figured, if REOs are selling, that's probably a good sign. So, all right, I looked at where the most REOs closed. Then I would look on public records, on Zillow, really, who closed. I look at the little yellow dots, click and see which ones were LLCs. And I would just Google them. Put them on Facebook, see if I can find some phone numbers. But right now, with all these skip tracing softwares, or you could buy these lists using like Smart or List Source or whatever.
Right.
I didn't know this back then, but yeah, you just buy the list, skip trace it, call these people, and just talk to them. Hey man, what do you? My name is Raul. I'm a wholesaler. I'm finding off-market properties and on-market properties, but they're good deals. What kind of stuff are you buying? And just kind of get their information.
Right. Okay. And so now you got your buying criteria. You know what they want to buy, and then where do you go from there?
So then you just go shopping, and that's the beautiful part about MLS is like shopping is it's like Publix, right? It's like literally it's right there. And granted, they're not all motivated, but they're all motivated enough to list it with somebody. So there is some type of motivation. Mm-hmm. Just probably the agent hasn't done a good enough job of uncovering it and getting the right price. But yeah, so once you got that list, you got that criteria, just go out there. Every MLS is kind of different, but on your MLS, find a way to make a hot sheet with the criteria that you have on this piece of paper. And just start shooting out offers and calling agents and following up and offering, the prices that you could sell.
Right. It's phenomenal. And so I know you guys track your metrics, and I've heard before, but for our audience, what are some of your metrics? Like how many offers are you making, or how many houses are you looking at to offers made, to offers accepted, to fallout?
So the houses looked at, I don't have it like off the top of my head, but I do know probably take about 500 houses on a hot sheet, and we're making about 70 offers a week per agent. Okay, 70 offers a week per agent, and out of that, we should get about 1 to 2 contracts back per week.
Nice.
On those metrics. And then each of our deals are anywhere from, I think the last time we checked was like $9,800.
Okay.
Is your average assignment?
Between assignment and commission.
That's pretty phenomenal.
That is.
For not having any marketing expenses. Yeah. I mean, if you shaved off our marketing expenses, it would probably be about the same.
Right.
Just a different approach, different mindset, and not believing. I think that's what Undrea and I actually first noticed when the conversations were revolved around. It was Andy at the time. You and Andy. It was, these guys just don't know. Like you didn't know any better. Like you just did it,
right?
And it didn't matter. There's so many people like in us. I mean, it was proven to us. Same thing with the TO thing. Like I was fighting the battle of saying this doesn't work before I'd even tried it. Like you guys didn't have any of that. Any of the negative learned experiences, and you just went after it, and you're proving people wrong all over the U.S. that say you can't buy off the MLS in one of the most competitive markets in the U.S.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people have to recognize. This isn't one of those markets where you drop mail and like you drop 10 pieces of mail and 10 people call you. It's not a market like that, right? So it's very competitive. So and a lot of people, they also have to look at the operation, right? Even though the marketing isn't there, he's treating this like a business, right? And putting a lot of effort, a lot of emphasis to make sure he has all his systems and everything in place. And I think where the people that go out there and they try to make it work is that it's just a little bit small part of your business and they don't really put much into it. And it's, well, it doesn't work. Right.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I talk to some people from the mastermind, they're like, yeah, man, I tried it. I got an agent. I'm like, oh, cool. How many offers they made? I don't know. Well, how many agents did they follow up with? I don't know. It's like, well, what the heck, man? Yeah. I can't tell you the same thing about mail, and then you're going to tell me I failed, You got to actually try it.
That's funny that I was looking at I was looking at the text when I sent you, and you had asked me one of those questions, right? And it was probably like a couple of years after the hurricane. You had asked me, how's the MLS going? And I was like, hey, we got a guy that's been helping us out. I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was a while ago too.
Right. And, but we were busy with the hurricane and all that. But I gave the same excuse.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. But we know it works, right? And you have to put forward some effort to doing it. Now, far as, because I know that sometimes you got to go out and look at the property. Like, how do you handle that part of it?
So if I was starting out, I would actually drive and go to it. I would start doing offers in the county that I can drive to. And now we have like a full-time runner that's kind of his job. So our agents, have his phone number, or we're in the same Slack channel. And so if an agent says, hey, I'll accept your offer, but you got to go see it, they'll shoot him a text and say, hey, check out this property and send me back the pictures. And they'll send them the address and the access. He'll go out and check it out, send us the pictures. The agent will get the pictures and send it to the agent. Hey, we checked it out. We're ready to go.
Okay.
So have you guys ventured over into the realtor referral space? Like, are you getting relationships built with realtors in the area that they're sending deals to you? Is that started to take off?
Yeah, I mean, actually, my biggest wholesale deal off MLS ever was like that. It was a realtor referral. I had done 2 MLS deals with him already. And then before he listed one, he texted to me, and we were able to do a deal. So yes, the answer is yes. And it kind of just happens organically as you're doing like loyal business,
Right.
As we make offers, as we kind of comply on the contracts and sell them and do what we're supposed to do, the relationships kind of happen naturally. They kind of will start chasing us and be like, hey, look, I remember we closed this one. What's the deal? I got this new one. I got this one coming out, et cetera, et cetera. So we could do a better job at like actively building relationships. But yeah, we do focus on every time we close a deal, we send a gift to the agent, either like a bottle of wine or an Amazon gift card, something to kind of keep themselves in front of us.
Right.
Who would have thought that Raul would be sending a bottle of wine, bottle of tequila, like half
there you go. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, you look at it and most people would say, okay, this doesn't work. You're making it work every single day. Got a full team wrapped around it. As far as your business, where do you see your business going now in the next 1 to 3 years?
So we've never really expanded into so many counties. We've usually done 2 to 3. Now we're in 5. So we are kind of like trying to not perfect, but like really hone down our model virtually, our MLS model virtually. So we could try to go in multiple counties throughout Florida, and then hopefully, different counties throughout the state, throughout the states. We'd want to partner with, people who are legitimate wholesalers or have legitimate buyers lists. And
right.
We'll just focus on the acquisitions, and we'll have, our partners focus on the sale. And I think it'll be a win-win for everybody because it doesn't cost much to make it happen. It's just effort and systems, which we kind of have in place already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So for the most part, you can go out as long as you have access to the MLS in that area. Yeah. You just need somebody to go out and sometimes take a look at the property, take pictures. That person that's taking a look, the runner, are they giving any feedback other than the pictures? Is that person trained to look at the property?
Yeah, good question, man. Yeah, we train them a little bit as far as like repairs to estimate. It's never going to be perfect, so we haven't put so much focus. We just want him to tell us like, hey, was the roof leaking? How was the kitchen? Was it old? Was there anything that we can't see in pictures? Was like the floor caved in? Things like that. We train them to find things that are not in pictures because our acquisitions guys are pretty trained to see the pictures and kind of estimate the repair costs.
Right. And, expanding to multiple markets and even in your own market, like one of the things that we always run into when dealing with realtors is the earnest money. So how do you guys handle that part of it? Because that's usually the first thing that they're looking for.
Yeah, and that's what I would say is kind of like the toughest part about MLS. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's tough for newer people is because you're going to have to put money. There's ways you can go around it. Like if you do things right? Like if you make an offer and you have your buyer criteria down packed, you should have an inspection period, and you should be able to sell it within the inspection period, and then your buyer can put the deposit for you, right? But however, that's in a perfect world, and that doesn't always happen. So you do have to put some money every once in a while. So to overcome it, I would say 2 ways. One is, get your buyer's criteria really down packed and make sure you send the buyers all the information of the property and escrow and all that stuff quickly, so he can do it before inspection. And 2, analyze the deal if it's good enough for kind of like your buying criteria, if that's your business model. And then you're going to have to put deposits every once in a while to buy you some time. I think for us to do 6 to 7 deals on MLS per month, we probably have anywhere from 20 to 25K in deposits every month.
Right. Okay.
Which you get back, but you got to have that investment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's to be expected when dealing with realtors. And that's, so if you're a new person, that's, and kind of like what you said, maybe it's not for the new person, but if you decide to do it, you may want to have some money, because when they ask for the deposit, you might be in bad shape at that part, right?
Yeah, man. Also, you don't want to burn bridges. So you want to be somewhat you got to be somewhat respectable. These agents are working pretty hard for their money and all that. So,
right. And you don't want to have a bad name out there in the market. Just like in Houston is a huge market, but the investment community is investor community is kind of small when you kind of really look at it.
It's very tight knit.
Right.
You get to know just about everybody that's actively in the market. So I would imagine that the realtor network is not quite isolated. So you definitely want to maintain your name.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the REO agents. Those are the ones that you got to take care of big time.
Right.
So we'll usually close on REO deals if we have to, if we get under contract and we can't sell it right away, we'll usually close, get a lender, do the whole 9, just to kind of make sure, take care of our REO agents. Hey, we're going to close. We're going to show you that we're real, et cetera, et cetera. Because these guys are, they have one of the biggest motivated sellers in the world, which is, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, et cetera, handing them deals. And we don't want to lose that relationship over, one deal or a $3,000 deposit or something stupid,
Right. And so what I get from that is that it's kind of like what Kent's reverse wholesaling. It seems to me that the first thing you absolutely have to do is you got to find some cash buyers, someone that can come in here and close on the deal. Because if not, if you're going out and you're contracting deals in the MLS, you're just kind of wishful thinking, right?
Exactly.
And you got realtors hey, so are you ready to close? When are you going to close? Proof of funds, all this kind of stuff. And you're I don't even know if I can sell this property. Right. So you really got to go out, find your cash buyers, just like Raul said, whether you're out networking, there's plenty of systems. Kent has a system to find cash buyers now, or REWW is what it's smart. But county records, Facebook, Indeed, not Indeed, but LinkedIn,
ListSource too.
Yeah. There's ListSource. There's a ton of ways of being able to find those buyers, but you want to find them first before you start going to this. Even though it's probably one of the cheapest ways to do it, it's also a more advanced way of buying deals.
But you can burn bridges real quick, and it won't be fun for you. It happened to me in the beginning. That's why I said I didn't know any better. Luckily, I had a mentor that guided me within the first week, told me, "Hey, don't do that," and I stopped. But if I didn't have that mentor and I kind of just went off the information I'm sharing and other things you read, you might be able to make it. And you'll burn a couple bridges. You might be able to do a deal or 2, but hopefully you're in this thing for the long haul. And you want to make, money for a long time and not just for a month and do 2 deals. You want to do, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 deals eventually, So that's kind of the advice I would give. I would make sure you're pretty loyal with your contracts, with your escrow deposits, your dates. Make sure you're pretty organized with that.
Yeah, I think that's really important for our listeners. You treat it like a business and not a hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
If you treat it like a hustle, at the end of the day, you're going to be out of business because those relationships don't forget.
Right. So now that like I said, you're looking to move into these 5 counties now, and so now I assume it's just finding the wholesalers in those markets. How are you going about vetting those people?
So great question. We're just starting now. Kind of through networking. We're also doing so on the counties close to the ones that we live in. We're kind of just doing those ourselves, meaning we hired another dispositions person to just be on the phones and pretty much finding these new buyers, as we spoke about. Buy these lists, cold call, get the data, and then we were going shopping for them in these close counties to see how it works.
Right.
And we kind of like, dipped into it last year, and we did like, I want to say like 10 deals in different markets around Florida. So we proved to ourselves that it's possible. It's just, it's hard to sustain. So we're figuring out how to sustain it. And basically what that means is, we're doing two things. So either kind of figuring out the dispositions ourselves in that market, or through network, through, things like the mastermind, trying to partner up with some people from the mastermind, etc. People who have legitimate buyers lists, people who have legitimate businesses. We're trying to figure out how can we like intertwine our stuff and be like, hey, look, I'll handle acquisitions, you handle dispositions. What I've done is I dove deep, and I'm like, all right, what do I need from a dispositions team that's not in our office? Okay, we need them to provide feedback in 24 hours. We need them to be able to send out their buyers. We need them to have access to, our system, et cetera, et cetera. So I dove deep into that, little by little, sharing this with people and seeing how possible is that.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely makes sense. And it's great to see that you're leveraging the human capital in other wholesalers and their market, and you're just tacking on to it. There's everybody wins mentality. It's the same with the mastermind. We, release all the information. There's nothing that we hold back. And absolutely, I think partnering with people is the way of the future. I mean, you're 26, so you probably relate to that anymore. I think we're going towards that direction of kind of tearing down walls between businesses and working together.
Yeah.
Right. You're seeing that people are not territorial anymore, right? It's like you don't have to buy in your backyard. You don't even have to. I think pretty soon you're not going to be buying in this country, right? You just buy wherever you want. Wholesale everywhere, but with Bitcoin and all this other stuff, you just buy everywhere, right?
For you to win doesn't necessarily mean that I have to lose. There's ways for us to win together,
right?
Pull our
I
strengths.
would say like wholesale, I've seen it's not a business. It's more of a business of collaboration, not competition.
Right.
And the reason I came up with that is because I saw through our numbers, our P&Ls, we saw that we paid like over $110,000 in JV fees last year. It's like, dude, these people are a big chunk of our business. Like our, other real estate agents, joint venture partners, other wholesalers, they made 110 grand with us last year or whatever. And that's collaboration right there.
Right.
If that's not collaboration, I don't know what is, This real estate wholesale is not like it's not like a Walmart that, Walmart's competing with Target or, Publix and Whole Foods or whatever, it's like if you guys find properties, there's other people that have buyers. If you have the buyers, resources are scarce here.
Right. Especially when moving to a new market, because we've noticed that going into the San Antonio market, having somebody that already knows the market and has an idea of the pulse of that market. Because one thing we noticed is that a lot of the houses that we look to buy here in Houston, like half of San Antonio's houses look like those houses, right? But they evaluate them a lot different there than they do here, and it's just right down the street.
Yeah, there's a massive discrepancy in supply and demand in San Antonio versus Houston. The house that we cherish here and that our buyers like, that we make the most off of, is a dime a dozen in San Antonio. So there's just house after house after house, and the market, I mean, it is steeper. Like they're buying deeper there. The buyers have more supply to choose from, so they're a little bit more picky in not only their location but their price as well.
Right.
Week number one, I was ready to buy like 5 houses in San Antonio off of wholesalers because using Houston numbers, they're great.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're like walking in like, man, that's a deal there, that's a deal there, it's a deal there, and it's like,
you're gonna be billionaires.
Is no one else marketing in this city?
That was great.
Right.
Like $50 million. Let's do it. Yeah, no, having that local expert, I think, is huge, man.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I know that that you've been big in social media as well. I know that's one of the things we talked about, and you also put on like a meetup in your area. Yeah. Right. How often do you guys do that?
So the meetup we do once a month, the last Tuesday of every month here in our office. And it's basically just me talking about kind of like the market, how to find deals, how to talk to sellers, how to negotiate, how to analyze a deal, kind of like all the tools you need to actually go do this business on your own fairly quickly. It's pretty cool. I like it. I kind of do it. I do it, I like to teach. I like to just kind of talk, and I like to bring people in. There's been deals done in the people that have come in. We've hired people through the meetup. We have somebody now doing our pay-per-click ads because of the meetup.
Right.
We've had realtors join our brokerage because of the meetup. So it's pretty cool. It's like, it creates a cool little network, and we all share ideas and have some fun.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that takes us back to your collaboration, not competition.
Yeah.
And being able to give back to the people that are in your community. And those are the people that you end up working with, right? You don't know what you're going to get out of a relationship, but you just continue to give, and it starts to come back. And so looking at what you have going on, I know that I checked out your Instagram, checked out your YouTube, noticed that you're actively giving constantly. This guy's like beast mode on social media. It's got the camera guy zooming around.
Miami's party liaison.
Yeah,
you have earned a reputation, man.
Yeah.
You make every event that we go to fun.
Yeah.
Always have your pulse on what's going on and how to.
Right.
I see that everybody continuously goes to Miami after these events too. So
Yeah, what's up with
I
that?
don't know what that's about.
Everyone seems to fly into Miami.
But we need to
right
jump
after.
on that train for sure. So what's next for you guys, and how do people reach out to you?
Yeah, man. Like I said, we're just kind of growing, and we're trying to grow the team, and we want to get big on this off-market stuff. We've finally been doing 2 to 3 deals consistently every month off-market, so it's adding some money to the bottom line. And yeah, to reach out, you can find me on YouTube under the name Raul Bolufe, my name. You can find me on Instagram, Raul Bolufe, Facebook, Raul Bolufe. Our website for our company is capitalriseinvestments.com. And then, yeah, you can pretty much find us there. If you type in Raul Bolufe on Google, I should come out somewhere. Just see
Google me.
Google me, dog.
He don't need to introduce himself. Just Google me. I like that.
Yeah. Luckily, my name's not too common. You might see some pictures of the old man, but you just you gotta look for the young one.
Right.
Yeah. So your dad's Raul Bolufe.
Yeah, my dad's in.
Okay. Well, man, we definitely appreciate you taking time to speak with us. I know that you've been you went from Punta Cana to Tulum, Mexico. This guy is everywhere. He's already in Miami, so doesn't have to visit Miami. But taking the time to.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He visits Miami hard, and he lives there.
Every single day. Huh? But taking the time to speak with us and give us some, our listeners some insights on, how you can find deals, off the MLS. Where people think that, okay, you can't do it, but you can, right? So definitely appreciate it. And for anyone that wants to come out to any one of our events, we have our event the first Monday of each month. It's at the Hilton Garden Inn. And it starts at 6:30 p.m. And basically it's open for wholesalers, realtors, anyone that wants to learn about this business. We do this every single month. And kind of like Raul, we just give it away. Okay. Yeah. And then also you can check us out on Instagram or Facebook, any YouTube at Wholesale Nation, and continue to check out the podcast. All right. But that's it for today. That's a wrap. We appreciate you for coming out and listening. And that's it. All right.
Appreciate it, Raul.
Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Peace out, guys. Thank you.